Hello and welcome to Common Talk about the Commonwealth. I'm State Senator Jim Welch, and welcome back to our latest episode. And we're very lucky today to be joined by Colleen Loveless from Revitalize CDC here in the Western Massachusetts area. And Revitalize CDC does great work in our community, and you and the board and all the staff at Revitalize CDC have done great things. And I just wanted to open it up to you for a moment, maybe just for the people at home. Just to give you a little time to talk about your background and
Sure.
You know, how you got to where you are and you know, what made you get into the field that you're in.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate that. Always good to see you. And well, it's kind of been a long roundabout road to getting here. I do have ties to Western Massachusetts. I graduated from Western New England University with a bachelor's and an MBA there, marketing, and was married in Springfield, have lived in Springfield several times. Also, my two daughters were born in Bay State. So, but primarily grew up in Rhode Island and Connecticut, and for a time, 5 years or so, lived in Chicago, and also near Tampa, Florida for a year back in 2004. So, but I always keep coming back to the area, and I just really love Western Massachusetts and the community here that we've built, and family, friends, and everything. So. You know, my background primarily, as I mentioned, at Western New England University with marketing and business. I had my own for-profit business. First, actually out of college, I worked for H.P. Hood in sales locally here out of Agawam, and was primarily in food and consumer product companies. And when I moved to Chicago, I was working for the NutraSweet company, which was part of Monsanto and Searle Pharmaceuticals in sales and marketing administration there. And came back to this area, was working for Hubline in Hartford. They're a spirits and wine manufacturer at the time, been since sold under a different name now. And started my own business as a result of that. I was working with AC Nielsen and some information resources market research company, and started doing category management, merchandising, and marketing for food and consumer products in the U.S. and Latin America and Europe. And I did that for about 15 years, and I loved it, very passionate about it. But then after a little while, I was always looking for another challenge, and not quite sure what I really wanted to do and where I wanted to move on from that point. So I took, while I still had my business, I had a part-time position working with Valley CDC, Valley Community Development Corporation in Northampton, on their small business technical assistance, helping low and moderate income individuals either start up businesses or grow their businesses. And I got the nonprofit bug. And so, you know, that really piqued my interest in that area. I'm very visual too, and I've had done some construction and rehabbing in my own personal life of my own home, general contracted and things like that. So it kind of took all of my skills between sales and marketing and business and nonprofit and construction. And when this opportunity opened up in 2009, you know, Revitalize Community Development Corporation has been in existence since 1992. However, it was all volunteer primarily until I came on in 2009. Ethel Griffin, the associate director, was there. She was doing the books on a part-time basis. And they wanted it to become a year-round program because of the huge need for people, help them stay in their homes, rehabbing and repair for low-income individuals. And we opened up our first office. We went over to the Shibboleth Enterprise Center there at Springfield Technical Community College for a year to get our feet on the ground. And now we've been on Main Street in Springfield, 1145 Main Street, since 2010, I guess it's been. So we're in the midst of construction now, of course, the street from MGM.
Right,
and
right.
So, you know, we get into the home rehab of it, and at the office we see the downtown construction as well. So, but it's been a great experience, and you know, the organization has grown.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're very obviously lucky to have you, and your journey brought you back to Springfield and
Right.
from Springfield back to Springfield, and it's certainly great to have you. But you know, you talked a little bit about the organization, and maybe for folks at home, just kind of understand, they might see the signs or they might see a story about Revitalize CDC, but they don't necessarily know maybe exactly what the organization does. Can you talk a little bit about the main mission of Revitalize
Sure.
CDC?
Sure. So Revitalize CDC, we perform critical repairs, modifications, and rehabilitation on the homes of low-income families with children, the elderly, military veterans, and people with disabilities or special needs. We try to help people stay in their homes so they won't have to go to possibly a nursing home. We really focus on military veterans as well, coming home from current wars with maybe any type of physical disabilities. We'll make modifications to the home so they won't have to move, sell their home, preserve their quality of life. Our elders, age and place modifications such as ramps, you know, and we've focused primarily in Springfield, but in 2015 we expanded into the city of Holyoke. And now we're actually working throughout Hampden County. And we work through volunteers, but we also work with skilled contractors, because obviously some of the work, such as a roof repair or new roof or installation of energy efficient windows or mold remediation, all that requires a licensed contractor to complete. But there's always a lot of work for unskilled people to do. I think you and your office volunteered a few years back.
I'm the definition of unskilled, that is for sure. And it was a great day that our staff participated in. And I think, you know, that's another point, is to not only do you do somewhat really structural work, but you can also do, you know, projects that really just, you know, help people with, you know, whether it's outdoor shrubbery or landscaping or, you know, just a basic cleanup. And you know, that's what our office did, because we don't have the carpentry skills. But can you talk a little bit about you know, just, you know, how does a person or how does a family get in touch with Revitalize CDC if they do need some help?
Well, what people do is they call our office, and the office number is 788-0014, and we will send them an application and send that out to them. They complete the application. They have to be a resident of Springfield or Holyoke, be a homeowner, live in the home. It can be a two-family as long as they're living in at least one of the units. They're qualified by income, so they have to provide proof of verification of income, whether it's tax returns, bank statements, pay stubs. Make sure that their property taxes are up to date with the city, and if they're not, then at least a payment plan is set up before they would you know, qualify. Unfortunately, we have very long waiting list, so there's, you know, never enough resources to help everybody that's out there. But it's really becoming quite epidemic. First of all, the age of the homes in Western Massachusetts, the average age of the homes we work on each year is about 98, so almost 100 years old. So when you're dealing with a home that old, you're dealing with lead paint, you know, mold remediation, you know, things like that happen to the home over time. And many of the families have been in there decades, 40, 50, 60 years even, and now they're on Social Security or fixed income. So it's daunting to fix that roof that may cost $15,000. That might be their whole year's income on Social Security. However, it's good for the entire neighborhood. It's good for the community to help people stay in their homes. They're stable. They're not transient. It's just very stabilizing and good for the entire neighborhood in their quality of life.
No, absolutely. You know, each spring you have the Day of Action, or and basically pick a street or a neighborhood or a section, and, you know, work on multiple homes. And can you talk a little bit about that? It's unless you see, you know, that day with all the volunteers and all the families and all the houses that are being worked on, it's really hard to describe, because it's really like a beehive with you know, hundreds of people, volunteers working on homes to really spruce up a whole neighborhood, and the impact is tremendous. Can you talk a little bit of how that came to be, or how that came about?
So April, the last Saturday in April every year, since our organization began in 1992, that was the all-volunteer board at the time. They worked on homes, and it came together from some of the banks back in the city, SIS and Hamden Bank, et cetera, all came together and they painted and landscaped. So that was one day a year. That was the annual signature event. And so when I came on in 2009, 2010, 11, we were doing the same thing. So we would work on maybe 10 homes on that day, and we would have maybe 300 volunteers, but we would be spread out all across the city. One neighborhood, different neighborhoods, each organization would take. 2011 obviously kept us really very busy helping families that either didn't have insurance on their home or inadequate insurance. So that really brought a lot of work to us too. But back in 2012, we developed a strategic plan. We worked with the City of Springfield and Mass Mutual to work on an entire block to really have impact and revitalize a neighborhood, to focus all of our resources on one block, to work on, again, we were saying 10 homes, but we've done an average of 25 homes on a block. We close the whole street down. If there's a park, we clean that up. Vacant lots, clean that up. We've created community gardens. If there's a nonprofit facility on that particular block as well, we work with them and partner with them. So we get volunteers each and every year from Maine to Virginia, as well as the residents in the neighborhood, the homeowners, and they volunteer year after year. This year we had about 1,200 volunteers, and we do not even recruit or do outreach. It's just overwhelming. So many people want to help out, and like you're saying, there's something to do for everybody. Obviously, with that day, we have licensed and skilled contractors volunteering their time. They might be installing solar or installing energy-efficient windows. Another company might be doing some mold remediation. However, there's plenty of work to go around. There's painting, there's landscaping, especially a lot of times it's an elderly person, like the project that you worked on. Sometimes just raking leaves because they can't do that anymore because of their age and maybe physical disability. So something as simple as that can really spread what a wonderful sense of community and joy within the community of giving back. But yeah, it's an amazing day because we have about 5 bobcats going, and we have tree trucks and wood chippers and dump trucks, and there's dumpsters on the street, and they're being picked up and taken away. And construction companies, we have the colleges and universities teams. Our Western New England University football team, the head coach, Keith Emery, he serves on our board of directors. They've been volunteering with us at least a dozen years, long before I even came on board. So there's people of all ages. We have a lot of churches that sometimes there might be somebody elderly that they can't physically go paint and landscape, but they can help make sandwiches for the volunteers. We do brown bag lunches, or just sometimes even handing out a bottle of water. But that day also, on top of the 1,200 volunteers, we have 90 sponsors, again, from within the community, outside the community. They even come from out of state. So it really is a wonderful effort, and you got to experience it.
Yeah, to watch it truly is a community effort, and it's all right there when you see it, and it's amazing. So, well, thank you for for explaining a little bit about your background and Revitalize CDC. We're going to take a quick break for some public service announcements. We'll come right back and we'll talk a little bit more about Revitalize CDC.
Okay.
Listen, I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you judge me for having a problem. No one is going to know that I need help. I need help. I know that no one is going to judge me for having a problem. I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you listen.
This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Remember that to love America is to love all Americans, because love has no labels.
Welcome back to Common Talk about the Commonwealth. I'm State Senator Jim Welch, and again we're joined by Colleen Loveless, CEO of Revitalize CDC here in Western Massachusetts. And in the first segment we talked a little bit about your journey and the great work that your organization Revitalize CDC has been able to do and over the past decade or so, or several years. And it really is a great organization that does great work. And I just wanted to, right off the bat, just if people wanted to get in touch and learn a little bit more about Revitalize CDC, or maybe they have a loved one or a family member or a neighbor that maybe could benefit from the services, what's the best way for people to get in touch with your organization?
They can either call our office at 413-788-0014, or they can go to our website at revitalizecdc.com.
Okay, and there'll be information about volunteering, there'll be information about referring someone, there'll be information about all the different types of services, at least on the internet there. And, and of course, if someone calls, someone will be able to walk them through all of that as well. So. Also, just for people at home, and Revitalize CDC is a nonprofit organization.
That's correct.
And how does I think sometimes people don't necessarily, myself included, don't necessarily understand how nonprofits work. How do you get your funding? I mean, how do you get money to do the projects that you do?
Well, our sources of funding are from multiple places and locations, which is good. So it's very diversified. So. The way the economy can be, it's good to be diversified so that we can still hopefully meet some of the need that is out there. Because we work on an average of anywhere, this year we finished 76 home repair projects in Springfield and Holyoke. So a lot of it comes through grants, through local Western Massachusetts businesses, foundations. We have several fundraisers during the course of the year, some for general fundraising and others specifically for our veterans projects. We call our veterans projects, it's called Joined Forces. And we have a fall fundraiser for the military veterans every year. And then, a lot of sponsorships for our events, whether it's the Green and Fit volunteer events, whether it's other fundraisers, sponsorships. So it comes in from a number of multiple sources. The cities of Springfield and Holyoke do support us with community development block grant funding, and we also are a qualified community development corporation in the state of Massachusetts, and we have community investment tax credits available to individuals, businesses, nonprofits, not only in the state of Massachusetts, but they could be in any of the 50 states throughout the country, and they're still eligible for a 50% credit on their donation, even if they don't pay taxes. So for instance, if a nonprofit, such as a foundation, awards us a grant, they're still eligible to receive 50% back from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and that is to spur investment in the local community. So about almost 30% of our donations and grants and sponsorships actually come in from outside the state of Massachusetts. So we're bringing funding in and investing in our local community here.
So a very diverse background of funding, and, which I think for a nonprofit is important, because sometimes those funding sources dry up.
That's correct.
So a lot of pieces to the puzzle, and I'm sure it takes a lot of staff and a lot of ingenuity to make all of that work. Did you want to talk a little bit about your staff?
Juggling, yes. So, and one other thing I did want to mention too, of course, is the volunteer base that we have, and in-kind donations of both skilled, unskilled labor, but also in-kind donations of, say, roofing shingles or windows, or significantly discounted. So we can leverage our funding as high as 4-to-1 on some projects. So that really is tremendous, and it has greater impact in our local community. And we're very lean. We have a small staff. We have 6 individuals focusing on working with construction management, project management program, working with the homeowners and qualifying them, working with volunteers and managing the volunteer base, writing grants, marketing, a wide variety of work that we do, and everybody does a little bit of everything. It's not a clearly black and white defined role. We all kind of overlap and cover for each other, and we're cross-trained, as we say. We all empty the garbage in the office on Friday. So, but it's good because it's a team effort, and not only just the staff, a wonderful board of directors that we have from all the local businesses and nonprofits that serve on our board of directors. We have several committees. We have our fundraising committee. This year we have our 25th anniversary committee, which we're planning sometime in the fall. And then we also have what we call our Green and Fit committee, and that's for our annual projects that we have in April in Springfield, and now in Holyoke in October, where we have house captains and help plan the whole event. Because it's one thing you think about working actually on the houses, but you're now managing a whole project. We get mobile boxes brought to the sites to store our materials. We have to have golf carts. We have to distribute the materials to the sites. Then we have to have food and water. We have to have porta potties. All of that goes into the planning, as well as besides the actual work that's being done that day.
It truly is amazing for anybody watching at home to see that day of action in person is truly amazing. And it's uplifting too, because you realize how many people in the community are willing to help and donate their time. And oftentimes in the spring, sometimes it rains, and
Yes,
it makes it
you've been
that
there.
much more challenging. And but it just shows the dedication of the volunteers in the organization.
Yeah, in 2014, I just want to mention, and you were there, it poured rain. It was about 45 degrees. And it wasn't just a light rain. It just was dreadful. And we still had 800 people come that year. And I remember one of the things that you said that year, too, is when you participate in this event, you always get more out of it than you're ever giving back.
Oh,
It's such a good feeling when you walk away at that end of the day.
It restores your faith in humanity in
Yes,
some
yes.
respects, because people are so willing to help and volunteer. And I know we talked a little bit before off camera about one of the initiatives I think you have going with Bay State Medical Center.
That's correct.
Did you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So for the past several years, we've been working in collaboration with Partners for a Healthier Community, the Pioneer Valley Asthma Coalition, Bay State Health, on this Green and Healthy Homes initiative. Green and Healthy Homes initiative is a national network located out of Baltimore, Maryland, and they have been providing us technical assistance to create this, what they call, pay-for-success model. So the way it will work, and we're about to kick off this pilot project, we have some funding for it now, and Bay State Health has awarded our organization a $250,000 grant for capacity building. We have 2 healthy homes assessors on our staff that have been trained and certified in healthy homes assessments, as well as pest control and some others, lead, all of that. And how the program is going to work is any asthma patient that comes into the emergency department at Bay State Health, it's either been admitted or at least comes in and they're suffering from asthma, the pulmonary rehab department will refer asthma patients to our organization along with a community health worker. We have the Healthy Homes Assessor, the community health worker on the pilot project is with Square One. And, as we all know, asthma is a significant problem in Western Massachusetts. And children miss school, so obviously it reduces their educational outcomes as a result of asthma triggers. And then parents are missing work because they're bringing the child to the doctor or the emergency department. So, and then there's a huge loss for the hospital, and then the patient is suffering. And meanwhile, they get treated at the hospital, get sent home, but they might have mold in the home. Yeah. Well, that's not going to fix the problem. So they're going to refer those patients to our organization. Our Healthy Homes assessors will go in and determine what is causing the asthma trigger. Community health worker may also determine that there are other factors, such as they may be cleaning with bleach. Bleach is an asthma trigger, so just educating the family on that. But then there may be other things, like there might be pests in the home and that need to be addressed. So we take it and we address those situations, whether it's mold or pests, and do those repairs on the home so that we either significantly reduce or eliminate the asthma triggers, making the patient healthier, improving their quality of life, they're attending school, the parents aren't missing work, and the hospital saving money. So it's a win-win situation for everyone.
Well, absolutely, and chairing the Healthcare Finance Committee in the legislature, we're always looking for ways to reduce costs in healthcare, and this is just a wonderful example of how not necessarily a healthcare need, but a preventative action that can be taken can prevent and help a family or a child or somebody from unnecessary, or I should say, avoidable.
Right.
Trips to the emergency room, trips away from or being out of school, parent missing work, and it's just a tremendous example of collaboration and working together. And I applaud you and both Bay State for taking that initiative. And I know another area that has come about recently, and I think your organization works with veterans. And I know that you talked a little bit about that earlier, but can you talk about how the impact that has on the community, your organization working with veterans and helping them?
We're very proud of the work that we do with veterans in the community, and Ethel Griffin, our associate director, her husband is a Vietnam War veteran, served in the U.S. Army. And we work on veterans projects in several of the cities. We've collaborated with Westover and Barnes and the Soldiers Home and Soldier On, and so many veterans groups of bilingual veterans outreach centers, and so many veterans groups. We worked at the different cities' veteran services departments as well, and we've been working on projects with veterans since our inception in 1992. Originally, it was a program with Sears, the retail store, their Heroes at Home program, and really provided a lot of the training for us as far as how to support veterans and some of their needs in their homes, whether it's from current wars or from past wars. I mean, we've served. We're still, even in this past April, there was a widow of a U.S. Navy World War II veteran that we assisted, and now that the need, for our veterans, especially with our current ongoing wars, there's been a tremendous need out there. So in 2015, we developed really wanted to have a focus on veterans projects. So we have a real portion of our program dedicated to that, and funding dedicated to support veterans' home repairs and needs, and also to support them as far as any type of referral services, other support services that might be out there that they might not be aware of. And so we named it Joined Forces, and it's one word, Joined Forces, and it really is the entire community, businesses, civic organizations, churches, nonprofits, all coming together to really support our veterans and their needs in our community.
And again, just another great example of the great work that Revitalize CDC does in our community and helps so many people and so many families. And we have about a minute left or 30 seconds left. Did you just want to talk a little bit, if you could leave people at home with one thing about Revitalize CDC, what would it be?
I want them to come out to our Green and Fit event in April, because once you come out one time, you'll come back every single year. Just like you said, I can't explain it to you. You can't explain it to anybody unless they're actually there, because it's just, like I said, Maine to Virginia, local volunteers, diverse group of volunteers from ages to ethnicity, to, male, female, boys, girls, men, women, so it's just a wonderful, wonderful sense of community, and you feel the goodness of people wanting to do so many. And the negative things happen sometimes, and that gets covered, and you see the good in humanity that day, and so it's wonderful.
Yeah, I can speak for myself and just say that it's just a tremendous experience, and it makes you want to come back year after year after year. And Colleen, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We'll put up additional information about Revitalize CDC on the screen if people want to get in touch with you, and we really appreciate you joining us on the latest episode of Common Talk about the Commonwealth, and good luck with your organization, and thank you for everything that you and your staff and your organization do for our community.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's all for the latest episode of Common Talk about the Commonwealth. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.